Well, now we're getting you the latest updates regarding the war in West Asia, and 3 Indian seafarers initially reported missing have died after a vessel was attacked by US forces off the coast of Oman. The Palau-flagged oil tanker MT Settebello had a total crew of 28 members, including 24 Indian nationals and 4 foreign nationals, 2 Pakistanis, 1 Ukrainian and 1 Russian, when it came under the US military's attack in the Gulf of Oman. The US military has said that it attacked the vessel after it allegedly failed to follow its instructions and was carrying, in fact, oil from Iran. Let's, in fact, take a look at the 3 Indians who have unfortunately been killed in this incident. So the 3 Indians, these are some of the details that we have for you. The first one is Aditya Sharma, a deck cadet from Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. We have Shivanand Chaurasia, an engine fitter from Deoria in Uttar Pradesh, and Suresh Patnala, who is the chief engineer. So all these 3 Indians have unfortunately lost their life. Remember that the US has confirmed that there was a precision strike at MT Settebello over there in the engine room, and they are claiming that the ship or the vessel was not following international law, and hence the US carried out these precision strikes. But unfortunately, these 3 Indian seafarers had been earlier reported missing, but now the Ministry of Shipping and Ports has confirmed that their bodies have been recovered, and unfortunately they have lost their life in this incident. Remember, viewers, that almost 2 other vessels have also been targeted over there in the Gulf. Let me go across to Ambassador Manju Seth, who's a former diplomat. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
This is a very unfortunate news, ma'am. These 3 Indian seafarers unfortunately losing their lives because of targeted precision strikes against a vessel that the US thought was not following international law.
Absolutely. I think it's very, very unfortunate, and that, India is not a conflict, is not part of the conflict. Neither are these civilian and commercial vessels. So it's very, very unfortunate that they have been made the target for supposedly not, adhering to what the US has decided. In the other, on the one hand, they've been saying freedom of navigation, etc., and on the other hand, this targeting of a commercial vehicle and vessel. But it's if you see what's happening right now, it is a kind of extremely challenging and unfortunate scenario that is unfolded in the Middle East. And both Iran and the US seem to be, trying to score points, or I don't know what they are trying. I'm really baffled a bit, and the fact that a large number of commercial shipping lines, a lot of Indians are there as part of the crew, and they're being unnecessarily being targeted. I feel that. And India has rightly taken up with the US that, this targeting of commercial vehicles, commercial vessels is very unfortunate and not acceptable. And even we have conveyed to both sides that, commercial targets, civilian targets, including, in the Gulf countries, other Gulf countries, where a huge number of Indian diaspora are present, is unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate, and I think we have rightly pointed it out to both sides, all sides in the conflict, and we hope that a better sense will prevail.
Ambassador, if I can also get your perspective as to how India can now go forward, because we do not obviously want to be actively involved in that conflict zone and area, but is there any way to make sure that the Indian seafarers who are in fact stuck over there return home safe?
I think we can only very strongly convey our concerns and impress upon all parties that they have to desist from this kind of madness and of targeting of civilians. who are just doing their jobs. They're not even sorry, they're not even involved in any way remotely. They were just doing their jobs, and there's so many of them stuck there. We can only try and get them out. Renew our efforts. We already, I'm sure, making efforts to see how to get them out of that area. But I think both Iran and the U.S. don't seem to be listening to anyone. And yes, we would not like to get there, and we should not, I think, get directly involved in any way.
Absolutely.
It's a difficult situation for India also and Indians.
Ma'am, I want to also understand your observations regarding what is currently happening. Do you believe that there can be some sort of, another ceasefire that can be reached between these nations now that, the U.S. Seems to be also trying for negotiations with Iran?
It did seem that this last ceasefire, which held for 2 months, might continue, might not be breached. And both sides, I think, are wanting the conflict to end, but at the same time, their end goals, their conditions, their red lines are unacceptable to the other side, each of their red lines. So I think the way forward is, yes, as you said, there appears to be some progress, but some of the red lines that, Iran has indicated, some of the red lines that the U.S. has indicated, there has to be a meeting point. And I think the negotiators must be, focusing on those issues, trying to find a meeting point. And I believe that only, this current negotiation should be for lasting peace, not only just a temporary ceasefire. Then only will there be peace in West Asia. Otherwise, if you carry on like this, there'll be ceasefires and again renewed, fighting and attacking to just, I think, again negotiating points or to try and say that we are still very strong or some such indications that are being, given by both sides. And it is again, as I said, a very unfortunate situation that others have got caught up in this, who are unconcerned, uninvolved in the whole conflict.
Absolutely. Ambassador, if I can request you to please stay on with us. There is a breaking input that we'd like to take. Jordan has intercepted and destroyed 20 missiles launched from Iran after Tehran announced strikes on U.S. military bases in the region in retaliation for American attacks, according to a statement by Jordan's National Center for Security and Crisis Management. Ambassador, if I can also get your opinion on how, the other countries in the Gulf will now be looking at this, because when we were looking at the earlier phases of the war, obviously we were seeing strikes in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, in Jordan, in Oman, and now we are seeing that it's the same cycle that is in fact repeating. Do you believe that there can be some sort of an understanding between Iran and its neighbors to make sure that it does not attack, the bases over there? Because Iran is stating we are targeting U.S. bases in Jordan. Say, for example, if we take the, latest example of Jordan, where around 100 U.S. fighter jets are, stationed. Do you believe that there is a way out for these countries, ma'am?
I think for these countries, they all need to, of course, impress upon Iran. But the problem is that in West Asia, from what I can make out, there is no one nation, which is, in such a position to impress on others of what they should be doing. Because of the fact that some of the countries have given bases to the U.S. and Iran currently considers U.S. and Israel as their biggest and only enemy. Though earlier there were a lot of internecine or between the countries, there were a lot of sort of acrimony was there in any case before this war started, but it was still not. And there was some degree of getting together again, some kind of speaking with one voice in general. But now with the war, I think the countries who are with the U.S. and who are not with the U.S. seem to be on the opposite side, and Iran particularly is trying to, flex its muscles maximum, and though it is an asymmetric war, it's not such a strong country. I mean, that's what was the perception, that it is not militarily that strong. But now we can see that it has stood up to the most powerful army in the world, powerful military in the world, and the U.S. is, not able to fathom how this has happened. But I think the use of drones and AI and latest technologies have made this possible, and for this war to continue and to linger even till today. And so yes, countries like Jordan and others where bases of the U.S. are there, they are sitting targets. They're not involved in the war, but because they have the U.S. bases stationed there or aircraft stationed there, I think Iran believes that they are legitimate targets.
Absolutely. And Ambassador, then I want to understand, what do you believe is the next course of action for Iran? Do you believe that it can stretch the war like it has over the past 3 months even further?
I think, because of the asymmetric war and the support, I think that it is receiving from some other countries, including ammunition, etc., is encouraging it to continue. And I think the ceasefire, it may have used the ceasefire time to recoup whatever it had lost. And of course, manufacturing within the country as well as getting, it from other countries, which we can see now. The number of missiles that it has been suddenly unleashing all around has again increased. So I think they will, unless a permanent solution acceptable to both sides is reached ASAP, I think this cycle is likely to keep repeating.
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it. Well, viewers, now we are also learning that Jordan has intercepted and destroyed 20 missiles launched from Iran after Tehran announced strikes on U.S. military bases in the region in retaliation for American attacks, according to a statement by Jordan's National Center for Security and Crisis Management. All right, let's in fact go to a special guest who is now joining us on the broadcast to discuss the developments regarding the war in West Asia further. Dr. Hayel Obedat, member of Senate Jordan, and he's joining us live from Jordan. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Doctor, I want to first of all start off with how is Jordan viewing these renewed hostilities, where Jordan obviously now has been caught in the crossfire again. We are seeing strikes from Iran. We saw the latest strike on the US military base over there. How is Jordan looking at these strikes, sir?
First, our keys pillars of Jordanian position focus on sovereignty and neutrality. Jordan enforce strict no-fly policy for unauthorized weapons crossing its skies, engaging both Iranian projectiles and defending against any potential airspace incursions to prevent the kingdom from becoming an arena for the regional conflict. And in the same times, we are against what happened with other Arabic countries, Gulf countries, Arabia Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar. Also, we refuse to these attacks. The other keys that the security coordination of the kingdom acts as critical strategic partners in the regional stability, facilitating the presence of U.S. troops and defensive system at key sites like the Muwaffaq al-Salti bases and Al-Azraq bases, which attacks this morning. This cooperation aims at intercepting threats aimed at neighboring Arab allies country, and also we refuse the Israeli attacks, and we do not allow them to cross our skies. The other measurement or focus on our The escalation and diplomacy. Jordanian diplomacy, it's active, led by King Abdullah II, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continuously calls for escalation and warning that wider regional war brings severe economic and humanitarian fallout to the country, not only Jordan, to the Middle East also. Amman also expressed solidarity and Gulf allies and seeks and into broader regional crises like the one in the Gaza, which is attacks by Israeli, and also now South Lebanon also, which deeply affect Jordan national security.
Absolutely. Dr. Obedat, I also want to understand how is Jordan, because the country, Jordan has stated that they do not want their skies to become a battlefield between two, outside powers. You have always maintained that. But there are US military bases in Jordan, and Iran is using that as an excuse to target these bases over there. So I want to understand how is Jordan planning to maybe talk to Iranian leadership, negotiate, that Jordan is not attacked or, suffers the consequences of this war?
Our diplomatic, as I said, our diplomacy and the escalation, which diplomacy led by our king Abdullah II and Ministry of External, we have many channels to, let's say, to speak with European, to collaborate with European countries, with also with non-alignment countries like India, like I think also now Qatar and Egypt, as you know, and Pakistan and Turkey, as they are involved in diplomatic activities. And I think there is some channels through these countries which lead the diplomatic activities to reach a peace, a peace in this region, and to stop also this war. But every country, they have their special or privacy or private needs or private challenges. And at the same time, there is some layering in the situation between and the conversation between Iran and US. Every day, every hours, every 2-3 hours, we hear a conflicting news from US or from Iranian. And I think all of us now, we are in the blaring area because we haven't any, let's say, official information about the negotiation between US and Iran. We cannot understood how the negotiation continue, and in the same time they attacks they attacks each other, as they said, like yesterday what happened, or before yesterday, for 2 days. I think there's some virtuality. We cannot reach the reality until now.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Obedat, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We appreciate it. With that, viewers, we are slipping into a short commercial.